I've been doing a lot of thinking. And earlier today, as I was out and about, these ideas came to me. What if there was such thing as reincarnation? Reincarnation, that when we are born, we had a life prior to the life we're currently living. And that when we had died before, and then we came back in another body, different gender, different nationality, different religion. And what if that were true? And what if, to come down here, everything that we're experiencing, let's say we asked for it. Let's say we made an agreement. And let's say to come here to this 3D world, you had to pay for everything. You had to make arrangements for everything. So for you to be born a boy or a girl, you had to pay a price for that. Let's say to live in a particular country, another price for that. To be born rich or poor, another fee. Let's say to have a certain type of education experience, another price for that. And everything was arranged. We chose what type of body we were going to have, what hair texture, what coloring, everything. So it's all arranged. Even what parents you have. And then we also might have added, other attributes to enhance this 3D world experience. But then again, let's say, you make all these arrangements to come down here and to play. And again, in order to play this game, this Monopoly game, you had to pay. So, to play, you pay. So everything was done and paid for. And then you come down here. But let's say you have other variables that you didn't know that was there upon your arrival. You have people who cheat in this game of Monopoly. Now, what you didn't know in this game of Monopoly, see, it was to be a fair game with rules that you could expect, You have general rules to this game of Monopoly. But what you didn't know, that the boardwalks were all bought. Now, when you came down here, you were told that you would have the experience of buying your own property. It was going to be a hang-loose game. It was going to be fun. all could play. But when you got down here, what you didn't know was that when you landed, got off that boat, so to speak, and entered that boardwalk, that everything was paid up. And so you have to pay again. So the price you paid to get down here, and then it didn't tell you about the new payment upon your arrival. And that's where the sting of this game, how it affects you. There's a sting now to the bee that you weren't prepared for. So when you get off that boat and you enter the dock and walking it for the first time, you got captured. They said, oh, you have to pay to walk on this boardwalk because I came down before you and I paid for this spot. It's mine. I have a monopoly on it now. So you say, okay, I didn't know, I just arrived. And so you make a payment. And then you make a few more steps. And then to your surprise, everything is bought out. And because you didn't have enough money, you just had a little pocket money just to get you started in this game. And it was going to be a freestyle, this experience. And because you ran out of money, you just had that pocket money, like a vacation spot. You bring just a little play money with you, because you paid a lot of money and you saved a lot of money / energy to arrive and to enjoy your experience. But now you don't have enough money. You're just a few feet away from the dock of your arrival. And so what they said was, if you don't pay up, we're going to throw you in jail. That's right. That's right, we're going to throw you in jail. So some were really defiant, says, screw you. I paid and everything, and why should I have to pay extra? But they got the strong man who seized you and threw you in jail. And the penalties kept adding up. What they call compounded interest, because now you have to pay to be in jail. It's a rough ride. And so they said, well, you can work it off. And so they have you do all this weird stuff you weren't prepared to do or even fathom. They say, you got to do this. Okay, now you got to do that. And they're not telling you every day there's new interests and new payments. Oh, you got to pay for this food now. Okay, this cell, you got to pay. Oh, some of them say, okay, there's a release program, a work release program that you can go out and work and then come back in the evening back to jail. And so you think, it's some freedom because, you're out of the jail cell and you're scrambling now to pay your bill. And every day it's just compounding and compounding. And so now the race is, how much work you can get, and some work gets paid more money. So now it's the race getting into jobs that pay more than others. So in this new game of Monopoly, they say, okay, you could pay to get into this school. And this school guarantees upon graduation that you'll qualify to do this occupation. And so it takes hold. So some people go into law so that they could learn about the rules, the new rules down here on this 3D world, and maybe even change some of the rules, you know. So they do that. So everybody wants to be a lawyer. So they work to get into these schools that prepare you to become a lawyer. Some, they say, hey, you know, in the process of this game in life, we might get sick, injured. So I want to be a doctor, an MD. So they sacrifice all this time to go to medical school so they could learn to heal themselves, you know, treat themselves or treat others from these sicknesses that they're going to incur. And it goes on and on and on. And then you have other people, you know, they don't have enough money. They didn't land on, you know, they didn't, you know, before they came down here in this 3D world, you know, they just wanted a light experience. You know, they didn't have enough money to start with. And so those people were forced to go into schools, occupations that just, you know, that wasn't a lot. And so they were forced to maybe be janitors, sales clerks, and the like. So now they stay here, you know, it's more costly. It takes them longer to pay off their bills. So time keeps going on and on. You know, in this Monopoly game of surprise, you know, in every game you have cheaters too, as I mentioned. You know, they cheated about upon arriving these payments you have to pay. You know, to play, this is new payments. You have also opportunistic beings here. And they studied this game of Monopoly. And they like the attitude, the idea that now you have all these people who are so eager to work to pay off their bill upon arriving here. And they like the energy. They love this energy called fear. It's their favorite food. Fear and anger. You know, these are the people that set up this Monopoly game. They weren't supposed to be here in the first place. But somehow, in between the ether and coming into this 3D dimension, a hijacking, like a virus. It's a thin membrane that separates these two domains. And so also upon entering this membrane, they caught a disease. It tinkered with their genetics. So some of the people were stronger than others. Some people, they got more prone to certain types of diseases, cancers, anemia, addictions. What else? All types of conditions. And this also came into play. And somehow you have to survive. So they had placed all these rules, and since you first land and all this new payments that you thought were paid for, and then this virus that entered you. So it's really to make you stay here as uncomfortable as possible. They have a natural hatred to you. So you're here, and somehow you have to maybe try to inform people on the other side what life is really like. But these viruses hijacked this membrane. So in order for you to get messages back, they could disguise themselves and pretend that they're family members, friends, associates from past lives. They could trick you. Yeah, I'm Aunt so-and-so. I'm Grandpa. Hey, I'm even your pet. And they deceive you. And they even tell you, hey, we miss you. Please come back. Don't go home. Stay here for a while. Let's party a little bit, and then you get suckered in. 'Cause you miss them so. But it's not even really them. And so you're trapped. And you get set back here. This is an ugly game. Some of us even try to commit suicide to get out of the game. Get through that membrane, but then again, those little viruses could disguise themselves to look like all these people that you cared for in your 3D life or the home before. So you're trapped here. This is a prison planet, and to play this new game, you have to pay. To play, you gotta pay. And pay dearly with your life, with your energy. Nothing of your life is your own. This is a horrible game. And the rules keep changing. So the cycle keeps repeating itself, and each time, each generation, you think, I'll learn a little more so I could play this game to the fullest, and even try to warn them. So I keep knowing what to look for, but they always get the upper hand. They keep changing the rules, getting more crafty at that membrane of deception. They can tell you anything, and you believe them. How to break this cycle, the cycle of deception. We had come down here willingly, initially, to have this wonderful experience. But these viruses, opportunistic viruses, got a hold of the membrane that separates these two realms and created new rules. And you know, some of us that are down here in this new prison have actually sided with these viruses, these pirates upon our souls. And they're given positions in this monopoly game. They serve as wardens. You know, they're still prisoners also, but they just get a little bit more freedom. And they can walk all about this boardwalk and observe and bully and even receive the money, the extortions, the blackmail that they have to pay, that others have to pay to play down here. These are awful people. And yes, they keep coming back and coming back, reincarnating in this world, this 3D game of Monopoly, where everything is already bought out. And it's the same families. These same families control the boardwalk. That signature. They have similar sounding names, accents, appearances. They've been doing this for generation through generation. So they're a very unique bunch. And what a sellout these people are. Real sellouts. Forgetting where they really come from. And now they treat you like an inmate, like a prisoner, forgetting that they too have their origins on the other side of the membrane. And they just came down here to have a wonderful experience. An experience that was designed by them. And now they can't even, they're playing another game. And they think it's the game that they created, but it's created for them, where they think that they're free. But they're slaves to the system, and they compromise their whole existence in order for them to have a sense of freedom in this bought-out game of Monopoly. When are they going to wake up? Is it too late for them to wake up? Is it too late for the rest of us? Is it a way that we can get out of this Monopoly game to really warn the other side, to be rescued? How do we get back on the other side? It's a long, long journey. It's a long existence of despair. But like if something started in life, things can also change. This is just food for thought. Thank you again, guys. Enjoy your game of Monopoly. And somehow to get out of this game. Bye-bye, folks.